If you can believe it, it's been about a full year since I've given you all a proper tour of my desk and home office. This is becoming one of my favorite annual traditions for the channel, so let's get straight into it. This is essentially my all-in-one dream desk setup covering both Windows and Mac and console gaming and some music production as well. It's been a challenge over the years to find components that work best in all of these different situations, but I really think I've dug down and found it. Everything looks great, functions great, and just a nice, elegant, and simple way. In addition to the desk itself, I'm going to take you through the rest of my home office as well, just to make sure it's not like 2 or 3 hours long. I'm going to try and be quick while I cover everything. I tend to get excited and ramble, so hopefully editing Josh can take care of this, but let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if there's anything I missed. Starting off with the brains of the desk, the computers, it was a huge upgrade this year for me. I actually upgraded my old 2018 MacBook Pro to the new 2023 M3 Max MacBook Pro for work. That thing has been an absolute beast for video editing. It has saved me hours and hours in loading and rendering time. But for the first time in over 15 years, I'm actually back on Windows as well. It's been really fun going back to the roots of PC gaming for me. The last time I had a proper build was in the mid 2000s. The components make for a really great price to performance, kind of entry level 4K gaming PC or an absolute beast in 1440p. I've got a 7800 X3D, which I was lucky enough to buy before the prices skyrocketed and they disappeared off the shelves a few months ago. I've got a 4070 Ti Super, 64 gigs of RAM, a 360 AIO, all built into the Asus AP201 case. I really love the smaller form factor of that. I think it looks great on the desk. I love the mesh side panels. For the sake of time, I won't go too much more in depth on the PC, but if you want to watch, I have a full 20-minute video on building it as a first-time builder. I had a lot of fun with it, and the video didn't get a ton of traction, so go check it out if you're interested. In addition to the computers, for the first time in my entire life, after 25 years of gaming, I have both the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I've never actually had multiple current-gen consoles at the same time. I am truly lucky. I got the PS5 as a gift for Christmas for my family. They all pitched in. I've been having a blast this year going through PlayStation exclusives, and that combined with the Xbox has truly been unbelievable this year, and then adding in an actual gaming PC as well has been great. I've been playing a ton of Satisfactory and Counter-Strike the past couple of months. It's been a ton of fun. Moving into my desk and chair, the desk I've been using is the same as last year. It's a FlexiSpot standing desk that measures 72 inches by 30 inches. It has been excellent. I've been using FlexiSpot desks for years and years now. It's held up great. It handles all of the weight of all of the components and everything on there and moves super smoothly. Really great being able to stand up from time to time as well. But I have actually gotten a new chair that I've been testing out for the past month or so, and I think it is a keeper. The chair is actually a Steelcase Leap V2, but not a brand new one from Steelcase. This one is actually a remanufactured, refurbished unit from Crandall Office Furniture. I heard about these guys and absolutely loved the idea. I've always been a huge advocate for buying, higher end chairs on the used market because they're usually pretty plentiful from office closures and stuff. It's a great way to save money and still get a really nice chair for your back. The remanufactured chairs from Crandall have been really great though. They take in used chairs and completely reupholster them with new fabric and new foam, replace out the casters with something beefier. So they're taking these in and completely replacing all of the worn parts, but actually improving it in some ways. On the Leap V2 specifically, they've actually added additional foam in the seat, which is really nice. I believe they added foam in the back as well. Really great concept though. I love the idea of bringing new life to these chairs that still have years left in them. Their whole remanufacturing process in my eyes makes it seem like an entirely brand new chair. Getting into the monitor next, I'm still using the LG C2 42-inch as my main and only monitor. I had really considered switching over to one of the 32-inch 240Hz OLEDs this year, but I didn't end up pulling the trigger on one. I'm a little concerned with the smaller size and might be reworking this into next year, but the LG C2 is just such a great value. I'm sure it's a C3 or C4 at this point, but if you can get a discount on these, they look really great. The refresh rate and low latency has been really solid for gaming for me. It might not be the best option if you're into a lot of esports competitive gaming type of stuff, but I tend to play a lot of single player, more high fidelity type of stuff more so than, extreme high frame rates. But I've been really happy with it. You have 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, so I'm able to plug in my PlayStation, my Xbox, my Mac, and my PC into it, so I don't have to worry about any sort of HDMI switchers or problems. everything continues to work pretty seamlessly. Audio setup is largely the same, but with one really great change, and that is the bookshelf speakers I'm using. These are the Edifier R2000DB speakers. They're definitely a little big for desk use, but they sound so incredible. The instrument separation when I'm listening to music and answering emails is awesome. Surround sound if I'm watching a movie or playing video games or anything like that. I also, like I mentioned, do some music production. I wasn't really sure how much better they'd be than my last pair, but they are a huge upgrade. For headphones, I still have the Sennheiser HD6XX from drop.com. I challenge anyone to find a better value pair of headphones out there for any audiophiles or wannabe audiophiles like myself. Those headphones sound so great, and they sound like they should cost twice as much as they do. They're open back headphones, so they're really comfortable to wear for extended times. I tend to wear them mostly when I'm editing, but they're just really great all around headphones. I can't remember how many years ago I got them now, but I can't recommend them enough. I have both of those running into an amp DAC combo. It's from JDS Labs. It's their Element 2. From my understanding, this has actually been discounted as well. I think they might be on the Element 3 or maybe even Element 4 at this point. That's been working really well for me. I haven't had a lot of need or desire to change it. I really love the big volume knob that they have on there. It's been a really great combo for me and will probably be sticking around. Moving into peripherals, I've made a few changes to make things a little bit more gaming friendly. I've been really happy with the setup just for everything all around. For my keyboard, I've got the Keychron K2HE. This is a newer release from Keychron. It is their Hall effect keyboard. So it actually has magnetic Hall effect switches, which are really great. I went super in depth on this on a video a few weeks back, so check that out if you had missed it by chance. But the Hall effect switches are really nice. You can actually adjust the attenuation, how much force you need to get a keystroke. So really great for competitive games and stuff, but they just feel really nice for just general typing as well. I swapped out the keycaps as well for that sort of retro, like tan brown type of look. I absolutely love it. You have rosewood accents on the side. I do wish it was walnut. It would match my desk setup a little bit better. But I really like the overall look of the keyboard, especially with the custom keycaps. And to pair with that, I've been using the Pulsar X-Lite V2 Mini. It's their retro edition, so I love the combo of the mouse and keyboard, giving that sort of like retro brown type of aesthetic. Both function really well, but look really great while they're doing it. The Pulsar mouse took some getting used to for me, coming from the Logitech MX Master, but it is so much better for gaming. I noticed a huge difference in my Counter-Strike playing after switching over from the Logitech. It's just so heavy to move around for games. So it's been really nice for that and definitely good enough for my productivity work as well. It took a bit of research to find an ideal solution to have one keyboard and mouse for the two different computers, especially between Mac and Windows. I actually found a USB 3 hub from Ugreen that really makes it easy. It's essentially like a KVM switch, but just a USB switcher. Works exactly the same way, but it is a lot less expensive if you're only looking to switch peripherals back and forth. So far, it's been working really well, and it's the perfect, simple, cheap solution to the problem. I still have my Magic Trackpad for my Mac work. I've gotten so used to it over the years to be able to do the gestures and everything to swipe through. It's super convenient. I wish I could have that for both systems, but obviously not possible. I do have a MIDI keyboard as well for just some basic music production. This is mostly me just as a hobby. I have the Akai MPK Mini Mark III. I've had that for at least a couple of years now. It's been great. It's a ton of fun, and it seems like a perfect entry-level MIDI keyboard if anyone's looking to get into it. Still mostly in a learning stage with music production on the computer. I spent my entire life in bands playing actual instruments, so it's been an adjustment, but definitely a ton of fun. Underneath all the peripherals, I have a wool felt desk mat from Grovemade. That thing has been great. I've had it for several years now. I think it just adds a really nice level of texture to the setup. I'm a sucker for earth tones and different types of textures like that. So it just really adds that depth to the overall look. And everything we're talking about here, the monitor, speakers, peripherals, everything is running into the CalDigit TS4. It's great. You have just about all the ports you need. You have built-in charging as well. It works perfect for a one cable setup for me. Underneath the desk and speakers, I have the Grovemade XL monitor stand. I'm a huge fan of all the Grovemade stuff. I've actually had the pleasure of going into their workshop. I helped build my XL monitor shelf here, so that was a ton of fun. I should have some footage to overlay while I'm talking about this. I think I did last year as well too. but just a huge fan of everything they're doing. They're local to me here in Portland, Oregon, which is an extra fun bonus, but just love the aesthetics, love the attention to detail, the build quality. You know, the prices are a little higher, but you're getting high quality items in return. You know, the value is absolutely there. In the monitor stand, I have a little desk tray where I keep some pens and markers and a few little dongles if I need to adapt cables, as well as just a charging cable for the peripherals and a cable to plug in the MIDI keyboard. Also new for this year, I just upgraded to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and with the upgrade to the MagSafe charging limits at 25 watts, finally broke down and got myself a proper Apple branded MagSafe charger. I got the Grove made charger stand to go with it, so I swapped out my old Nomad mat that was nice but just charged way slower. So this is a huge upgrade for me. I love being able to have that standby mode too when I'm getting my work done. You have easy access to the clock and calendar and all of that stuff. A few other smaller accessory items I've got right now. I've got the OBSBot Tiny 2 4K webcam. I don't actually have it hooked up because I'm usually setting up for calls here, just because I have all my studio lighting here and it feels like a real shame to have this as a background instead of properly lighting me when I'm on video calls. I always have a physical notebook with me. Lately, it's been heavily used for planning out my manufacturing lines for Satisfactory. That paired with my tactile turn pen, I've been really enjoying, the pen and paper lately. Also, another new addition for me this year is the Books Note Air 3C. This is a color e-paper tablet. I did a really long detailed video about it a few weeks ago, so dive into that if you want, but it works really great as a sketch tablet, a way to take notes, a way to just read books. Having the color e-ink is really fun too. I've had it for a few months now and have been super happy with it. I almost forgot to talk about my data storage, which is an increasing situation with each year passing of archived footage from YouTube. I actually picked up a new Thunderbolt enclosure. It's the OWC Thunder Bay. It's a 4-bay enclosure. I have 4 16 terabyte Seagate Exos drives in there, so I have 64 terabytes in total. That gets backed up to the cloud with Backblaze, and then I have an on-site backup as well with my home media server that's mostly just Plex right now. My long-term files move on to that, and I do my editing on a Samsung T9 SSD. That way I can easily remove it and take it on the go if I'm traveling. Getting into the lighting, simple but extremely important for me. I have bias lighting on the back of the monitor and the back of the desk. They're just simple, Philips Hue strip lights. I also have the BenQ Screen Bar Pro up top. I love having a monitor light bar. They're so convenient and they're so nice. Really helps a lot with eye strain for extended sessions in front of the computer, both with gaming and video editing. Super helpful, whether it's that one or a cheaper one. I think this one's nice and definitely worth the money, but look into it if you haven't before. It is a total game changer. And I've been called out enough times in the comments to know I needed to revamp the cable management for the desk. Luckily, I was able to take care of that this year with the changes as well. Originally when I first set it up, it was in pretty good shape, but over the years, as I've changed stuff out, pulled stuff out, it just got messier and messier and messier. So I finally tore everything out and rebuilt all of the cabling. I got some new cable management trays that aren't the wire mesh that I had before. They're just a solid metal. I think it looks a lot cleaner from the front. There were just some cheap ones I found on Amazon. The brand was called Sleek Tray, I believe. I got 3 of them underneath there. I've got all the power running into a UPS as well. Finally, I've got a CyberPower UPS unit that can handle 1,000 watts. I really wanted something to protect the gaming computer as well as my hard drive bay. I have really crappy power in my apartment and have had a ton of issues with my home office breaker tripping when it shouldn't be tripping and all sorts of issues. So I finally broke down and got that. I feel a lot better. The setup's been working really great. It looks super clean. I'm no longer embarrassed by having it behind me in the desk all the time. I got called out and it was absolutely warranted. So that's about it for the desk, the core of the home office, but covering the rest of everything, I have made a few changes this year that have been really fun. First and foremost being my new kind of 3D printing workshop corner. I also want to give a huge thank you to Bamboo Lab for sponsoring this week's video and introduce you to my newest 3D printer, the Bamboo Lab X1C. I've had so much fun the past few months learning and tinkering in the world of 3D printing. There's such a strong community out there and so much to learn. It's something I've wanted to get into for many years. I've been using the A1 printer for the past few months, but I've been lucky enough to test out Bamboo's top of the line printer, the X1 Carbon. Going over some of the basics for the X1 Carbon, it has a build volume of 256 millimeters cubed, so that can handle quite a bit, and honestly a little bit more than it might look on the surface. It's a fully enclosed printer, which was a welcomed upgrade for me. It just gives you a lot more control over everything. You get a lot less temperature fluctuation compared to an open air printer. Also really great to prevent dust on the print bed, and it just opens up a lot more options for different types of filament you can use too. They have a fully enclosed AMS filament system for the X1 Carbon that allows up to 4 color prints, sits on top of it, and really looks like it's a part of the original printer. The X1 Carbon also comes with a hardened steel nozzle. Between that and the enclosure for the printing, you just have so many more options for what you're able to do with it. Has a 5-inch touchscreen for controlling it. You can also control it remotely through the desktop or mobile app. It is a truly seamless setup process, super easy and straightforward. You know, someone like me that's a beginner had zero issues getting it set up and working. You know, so much is taken care of, but you still have so much customization for the more advanced users. It's been a process, but I'm still working on learning all of the CAD software, you know, Fusion 360 and Blender and all of that. You know, in time, I definitely plan on designing and making my own prints, you know, working towards that now, but it's just taking a little bit longer than I had anticipated. Luckily though, there are a ton of options for existing prints online to look for. There's a ton around the web to search for, but Bamboo Lab actually has their Maker World website. You know, it's built into the app as well, so you can actually just send stuff right from the app on your phone to the printer wirelessly and take care of it. I've yet to not find a solution for something I'm looking for when I go to browse, so really great for beginners like me. Now for the best part, talking about some of my recent prints. Like I said, I'm still diving into all of this. When I first got the X1 Carbon, I actually printed out a really great chute to be able to have the waste come out. It looks like it's built into the actual design itself. Super nice. I found it on Maker World. Also found a set of desiccant boxes to put into the AMS system to keep your filament nice and dry so you're not getting any bad prints through everything. So cool to have all of those upgrades and customizations so easily available for us. I have done a few other things that have been really fun though. First off, I found this snap apart DeLorean model. I printed it off with the metal infused PLA. You get this really nice sort of metal shine to everything. It looks awesome. I am definitely printing more of these types of things for my nieces come Christmas time, but I also found these little hangers to be able to hang up backpacks really easily. Super nice and convenient for all of the fellow bag nerds out there like myself. I printed myself with the same gray metal PLA a nice little tablet stand for my books tablet to be able to have it propped up at my desk if I want to send articles to it from the computer. I even found a nice little MagSafe stand that I have set up for my bathroom right now, which has been great. I made a little soap tray for the kitchen. Working on some more organizational stuff in time as well. Been really busy with the video production lately and just haven't had as much fun time to make prints as I would like, but in the coming months I'll have more and more to share. Have some really fun stuff planned for the channel. I've truly had such a great experience with the Bamboo Lab printers and getting into 3D printing. It's also been really satisfying and reassuring to see, you know, the general 3D printing community online champion Bamboo Lab so much. It seems like everyone loves them. I can definitely see why. Repairability is also a 10 out of 10. They have a whole section on their shop for spare parts with really detailed guides for how to fix and repair and swap things out. I really love to see it. You know, you want to fix it before replacing it, and they seem to really be encouraging that as a brand. Again, I want to give a huge thank you to Bamboo Lab for sponsoring this week's video. Check the description down below if you want to check out the X1 Carbon for yourself. Or if you're on a tighter budget, you know, check out the A1 or the A1 Mini. I talked about those in depth during my PC build videos, so check that out too. Huge thanks again for them. Let's move into the rest of the section here. You know, like I said, I have the 3D printers up top. Underneath, I have the standard issue, you know, YouTuber shelf. This is the 46-inch Husky tool chest. I looked around at options for a very long time to find something that would fit that space well, offer additional storage, and offer a tabletop for the 3D printers. And I know it's cliche and silly, but that was the best choice, and I've been super happy with it. I definitely understand why it's so popular. Inside is just a mess right now of 3D prints and 3D printer parts and filament and all of that, but I plan on organizing that out a little bit more and adding in my tools as well, because I used to actually have a little storage caddy system that went there. I moved that out of the way to make room for this. You know, in theory, I should have all of the same storage, but with the additional tabletop. Above that, I have some hanging Edison bulbs Those are the Philips bulbs, so they're still smart bulbs that I can control with my phone, but they look like, you know, the old-timey Edison bulbs. I'm a sucker for those exposed warm lights. I just want it to be as cozy as possible in here when I'm working. And speaking of cozy, the only other real area aside from the filming section here is my little, you know, lounge chair reading type of nook. I got it a while ago after years of looking at options. I have an Eames Lounge replica from Sewn Furniture. Quality has been awesome. It is extremely comfortable and, you know, a fraction of the price of a proper Herman Miller Eames Lounge. I know I'm super spoiled, but I really love just having a separate area to go if I want to lounge for a bit in between working, or if I want to read, or I use my XR glasses to watch TV or play a game or something like that. It's just nice to have a separate seat that's not at my desk. You know, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to differentiate work from non-work when I do almost everything all day, every day in this room. In between the lounge chair and the desk, I have my little console table that's always in the frame behind me that actually houses both my Xbox and my PS5. Really like the mid-century look of that, and the metal doors allow for really great airflow for both the consoles. And I always get a ton of questions about the lamp on top of the desk. I found it on Etsy years ago. Unfortunately, last I checked, it wasn't available for purchase anymore, but if I can find it or something similar, I'll be sure to put it in the description. And so for the last section of the office, I've got my whole filming set up here that takes up all of the remaining room in my, you know, bedroom office conversion here. My filming desk here is another FlexiSpot desk. It's 60 inches by 30 inches. I actually switched this over. This used to be my main desk years ago, so I put it here. It's really nice to have this space to be able to showcase and talk about stuff here. You know, I get my famous overhead shots as well. You know, the cutting mat, everyone always asks about. This is from Alvin. I found it on Amazon. It's 24 inches by 36 inches. It's great. You know, it's nice to be able to have a space to cut things on with the utility blade as well and not worry about it. For cameras, I'm using the A7 IV as my main camera, and my overhead cam is the Sony A6400. I don't have it turned on for this video just because I don't have anything at the desk with me here, but this combo has worked really well. Ideally, in the future, I'd like to have 3 A7 IVs, you know, one for the overhead just to improve the quality here, as well as a third to get a third angle for this sort of multicam look I'm after. For audio, I finally have a setup I am super proud and happy with. It was expensive, but something that's going to last me a lifetime. It'll definitely work for any professional gigs I might do down the road, even though I'm mostly focused in on YouTube right now. My microphone is just out of frame here. This is the Sennheiser MKH50. It's a pro level mic. It was painfully expensive and definitely overkill for YouTube, but I really like the sound that comes out of it. You know, it's something that's used on, you know, professional movie sets and TV sets and things, and it shows. I have that running into a Zoom F6 recorder. Does 32-bit float, which was a bigger deal when I bought it, you know, less so now. 32-bit audio has gotten a lot more popular in the last couple of years, but this setup, you know, is extremely expensive, but I think the audio quality that comes out of it is really great. I'm reminded every time I try and use a lav mic or anything else how much I love this sound. I have a stack of effects running through on Adobe Audition, nothing too crazy, just some EQ and compression and stuff like that. For lighting, I've got the Aperture 300X right here, giant bicolor light, super soft. I've been using this thing for years. I use it on a ton of professional shoots back in the day too. Works perfectly for a little bit of room fill and for a hair light mostly. I have a Nanlite Pavo tube above me. It's the 4-foot one. That thing's been great. I have a secondary one behind the plant here. Cooler light from the tube, warmer light from the desk. Just add some nice contrast in my eyes. I like having some dimension and variety, but still keeping it looking natural and warm and, you know, normal. Last light I have is actually right above the camera right here. This is the Amaran 60X from Aperture, just a really great little budget light. I think it's only $150 or $200. It is far more powerful than I was expecting. I bought it just as an extra fill. I have a lantern on there. I actually have it on a nice wheeled C-stand as well, so I can bring it along with me if I'm getting shots elsewhere in my apartment or in the room here. Super convenient and a really great light if you're on a tighter budget. That could easily be a key light for a really great looking YouTube channel. To monitor everything, I actually have a giant old TV right next to the camera here. This was my old TV that I bought when I was a teenager. It still works great for this application. You know, it's a little old and a little thick, but having a huge monitor has been really nice for, you know, these really close-up detail shots that I like to get. You know, it's sometimes tough to get the focus right. You can't really do autofocus with that super close macro type of stuff either. So having it blown up really big is how I'm able to get, such crisp looking, in focus shots. Hopefully they look good to all of you. I think they look pretty good, and I think that is the main reason why. And then another piece of old repurposed tech, I have the original iPad Air right off the screen here. I don't typically script out my videos, but I like to make notes with specs and details and do my best to try and not forget everything, just because I feel like I lose some of the special sauce when I script things out completely. So I try and just keep some basic notes. I always end up at the end of filming every single video, I think of like a dozen things I forgot, but that's usually the best way I can do to try and keep on track and keep myself from rambling and forgetting too much. But on the note of rambling, I think that's going to wrap it up for the video this week. I really hope you enjoyed the tour. It's been a long time coming, and I am just so unbelievably spoiled and lucky to be able to build out this incredible setup to work in. We've come a long way. If you all remember, if you've been around for a while, back in 2019 when I moved into this office, it was an empty desk, plain walls, and nothing else in here. We've come a very long way over the past 5 years, and I have all of you to thank for that. So thank you all so much for watching. This video and all the others over the years means a lot more than I ever get the chance to tell all of you. So let me know down in the comments if there's anything that I forgot or anything that you want more detail on. Happy to chat down there. But thanks again, and I'll talk to you in the next one.